In this video, I'm gonna break down another lawyer's website. And this one right here is going to be a great example to show you how you can optimize your law firm website. That way you can turn potential clients into clients. Welcome to Law Venture. My name's Jarrett Stone. I'm the owner of Stone Firm PLC, and we're talking law firm websites once again. First things first though, if you're new to the Law Venture channel, or if you've been away from YouTube, or if you just haven't been paying attention, this video right here is building upon previous content. In particular, if you head over to lawventure.com, I've released my very own online course to building your law firm website. I've taken all the time, the energy, and the money, and the experience that I've either spent, gained, or lost, and I've boiled it down into a simple step-by-step course. That way you can get your law firm website not only up and running, but optimized for success. I'll slide a link above so you can go check that out. And I've been busy pumping out the content because I've also released another video titled The 10 Essentials to Law Firm Websites. And spoiler alert, in that video, I cover the 10 essentials to law firm websites. I'll slide a link above so you can go check it out. And I actually recommend you pause this video, go check out that video, and then come back because it basically provides a checklist that all law firm websites need to check off. Hence the essentials. And this is going to be the checklist that we use whenever we go and analyze the website that we're analyzing in this particular video. So I want to make sure you're oriented with what we're talking about. Again, go check that one out. Speaking of that video, whenever it dropped, which makes me sound like a rap artist who's dropping mixtapes, and I'm not mad about that, but whenever that video dropped, I made sure to reach out to the Law Venture community. I sent them mass email letting them know to check out the video, that it'd be super helpful. And within that email, I also posed the question: who here wants me to review their law firm's website so you can get feedback on how I think you can optimize your website? And as I was going through the email responses, one of them in particular stood out to me. In fact, the volunteer who offered his legal website as a sacrifice for y'all's benefit has a legal website that is super, super solid. And I think this is gonna be a great learning experience for everyone here because not only is it super solid, but it has room to improve. It has room to really be optimized for converting potential clients into clients. And so we're gonna break all that down in this video. But before I forget, I ask that you help me make a difference by smashing the like button down below. The more likes allows this video to rank higher. And when videos like this rank higher, it's able to reach more people. And when it's able to reach more people, it's able to help more people. And that all begins with you smashing that like button right over there. Okay, laptop is fired up. We're gonna be diving into the laptop, maybe cutting back and forth between this camera angle and the laptop itself, but we're about to do this deep dive. Before we do, I do wanna say thank you to the lawyer who's letting us review his website. His name is Chris Layton. If you're wondering, who in the world's Chris Layton? Well, that's what the website's for. We're about to learn all about him, so let's dive in. So I think the best way to get started here is to start at the top. We're gonna exclude the header for a quick minute. We're gonna start with the hero image, and then we're gonna work our way down, and then I'm gonna provide some feedback as we're working our way down. I can't promise there won't be some overlap as we're working our way down because there's gonna be some aspects that I'm gonna wanna move back up to the top, but you're gonna have to bear with me a little bit here. Now, whenever I said hero image, if your first thought was, well, what's a hero image, Jarrett? Well, shame, and this is like the Game of Thrones shame, like shame on you. And by the way, nobody quotes Game of Thrones these days because season 8 was horrible. So like I said in the 10 essentials video, your hero image is your billboard. That's the first impression being made. So let's talk about what impressions being made here. And for those that did watch the 10 essentials video, you may remember that there's a point in the video where I said something along the lines of, and I see this all the time, to where their hero image is super weak. It's some stock photo of a car wreck or a city skyline, but I think this is an exception. In particular, the fact that Chris has his image overlaid on the skyline, I'm good with that. I don't really have an issue with that. If it was only a skyline and he wasn't really introducing himself with his hero image, I would have a problem with that. But the fact that he's, sliding in, basically, he's over the city skyline, he's making this first impression with the copy that's on the hero image, I'm good with that. It's actually very similar to the traditional template that I put together in the free online course that I was referring to earlier, to where if I refresh this, you can kind of see it in action. We have the sliding in, we have the emphasis on the word focus. You can obviously change it, it's just a template. But one thing that I have here that I wish Chris had on his website is this contact us button. If you took the course and you're familiar with my little gripe with this traditional style, is that nothing really sticks out, and this contact us doesn't stick out. And so it's kind of like nails on a chalkboard for me to build this kind of format. But some people, they like the traditional style, to each their own. But with Chris's, he doesn't have a button right below the hero image. I tend to like having a button there because with bringing a personal touch to bankruptcy and personal injury, it'd be nice if I, read that powerful statement, then immediately was able to click something to immediately reach out to Chris. So my recommendation here really is fairly small. It's simple. It's if you can put a button here that helps me contact you immediately, that's going to allow the user experience to be that much more efficient. Granted, I understand that I could come up here and do the free consultation. I could come over here to do the live chat, but what you're gonna see as we go through this breakdown is that we want to simplify the website a bit. So this actually takes me to, I think, the crux of this entire video, and honestly the crux of my philosophy with law firm websites that's maybe going to conflict with what other lawyers end up having as a philosophical view or just implementing with their law firm website, which is that you need to treat your law firm website, specifically your homepage or especially your homepage, as a sales page. What I mean by that is it needs to be optimized to where there are no distractions, there are no rabbit holes for people to go down. It just handles everything on that one single page, and it really pushes the eye, it pushes the traffic, it pushes the viewer to the conclusion that they need to convert into a client, or at the very least reach out to you. And so what we want to do is try and limit the distractions, try and limit the rabbit holes, and really try and focus and emphasize the points that are going to have the most impact. This is kind of a tangent, but the way I view it is it's a lot like arguing in front of a judge or a jury, to where simple is better. And by having too much, by arguing too many arguments or trying to throw as much, law to the judge as possible, you're going to overwhelm your audience, and it's typically going to confuse them, and they may just, in this situation, bounce and go to another website. If we go and peruse Chris's website, we can see that there's a lot going on, and it's kind of counterintuitive, because if you want to try and convert, then your initial gut reaction is to try and convert people by giving them as many options, as many opportunities to convert as possible. As you'll see, it looks like Chris kind of fell into that trap, but through my experience with actually LawVenture in general and the LawVenture website, I've come to learn through research and just personal experience that whenever you strip away some of the excess, it actually converts at a much higher rate. Everything I just said is very abstract. If you weren't really making a connection with, okay, what, I have to simplify it, I have to remove things in order to convert better, don't worry about it. We're about to dive into the laptop. I'm going to show you specific examples that'll really help illustrate the points that I'm trying to make here. For example, we're here on Chris's website again, and what we can see at the very top is there's a button for free consultation, which is right next to the button for contact. In reality, you can remove one of these buttons and help simplify everything that's going on here, right? We can see that there's a lot going on. There's, you have your phone number here, there's the act now, there's all these opportunities for people to reach out, but unfortunately, I think what ends up happening is you're making the website a little bit too congested. I had the exact same type of format or mentality with my law firm website, to where I had a button everywhere we went. Every time you scrolled, every time you went to a new part, there was a button there for you to click. Fortunately, there's a solution. We'll talk about that in a second. And stick with me here. This one may be a little bit jarring. I would strip away all these options. I would just leave the free consultation button, to where when people scroll down, at some point, this is the only thing they see. But here's my heads up. I'm okay at the very top having a header that looks just like this. I just think a sticky bar needs to be implemented here. I've talked about the sticky bar in the 10 Essentials video. Sticky bar is so great because it really simplifies things. For example, if we head over to my law firm website, you can see this sticky bar just makes it super simple to where there's one button, there's a question, and it really just captures the eye because it has this different color that emphasizes that, hey, you need to come over and click right here. But notice as I'm scrolling, there aren't buttons, scattered everywhere in every possible opportunity. With the sticky bar or with the sticky button option, the fact that you have it up here really just makes it a little bit more clean. It makes that minimal impression to where people aren't getting distracted with all their options, and they also don't feel like they're being spammed or pushed with all the potential, click here or do this, do that. At some point, people just want to go through the content, and it's your job to make it as easy as possible for them to go through that content. If you want to know how to create a sticky bar, don't worry, I got you. In the free online course that I have over at Law Venture, I walk you through step by step on how you can create your own sticky bar, just like the one I was showing you earlier. Check that one out. So it's not going to take me long or much scrolling to be able to have additional comments here. But before I go through those additional comments, because I can talk. I'm a lawyer, it's my job to talk. I can talk all day. But I do want to talk about the fact that there's a lot of this website that I do like, and I hope I can, touch on them here and there. But overall, I do like the presence of this website. I do like its color scheme, and it's relatively a minimalist website, and it's definitely a modern website. I've seen horrible websites where it's like, wow, I feel like the only way I can access your website is through dial-up and using AOL 2.0. This isn't the case. This is a solid, and honestly, it's a great website. I just think there can be improvements in order to have it go up another tier. I just don't want to come off negative and being hypercritical, because some of these things are very nitpicky, and it's really going to be based on people's opinions or people's preferences. But my goal here is that I'm not being nitpicky to be negative. So for those that are watching, I hope that's not the case. So let's nitpick a little bit. With right under the Charlotte personal injury law and bankruptcy law, we see 4 boxes here. What I'll say is this 4th box, request a consultation. Within this little area that I'm showing you, there's request a consultation, free consultation, contact, and there's the phone number up here. There's a lot of contacting going on in this very little amount of space. The fact that this is, stuck up here, and the fact that I recommend putting a sticky up here, I think you can really simplify this portion by getting rid of this box. If you want to narrow it down to the 3 boxes, that works for me. But here's a little bit of, I guess, a philosophical view, and something that I think everyone should consider, because most people are either handling different areas of law like personal injury and bankruptcy, or they're handling different sub areas of law like whenever you have personal injury, you may only handle car wreck cases, slip and falls, and maybe med mal. In either situation, it's really great to front load the areas of law that you practice. That way people can quickly realize whether or not they're even in the right ballpark when they land on your website. Chris's website does a great job from the very beginning in this hero image talking about bankruptcy and personal injury law. You don't have to scroll very far before seeing personal injury law and bankruptcy again, and then seeing it a 3rd time before not even getting halfway through the homepage. Here's kind of my concern with Chris's approach though, because I don't think it's necessarily optimized for conversions. For example, the concern that I have is that whenever you click on the personal injury button, for example, it takes you to not really a blog post, but it kind of feels like a blog post. And this thing's popping up again. I'll talk about that in a minute, to where it gives you all these options to, go down this rabbit hole right here. And it has a lot of text, right? It has a lot of information. And so there's an aspect that I think Chris is like on the verge of achieving, but hasn't necessarily executed it quite yet. And this is something I actually have been thinking about and been wanting to implement on my website, but I'm being totally honest, I just haven't had the time, so I haven't done it. So if we hop over to my website as an example, I do something very similar. As soon as somebody scrolls from the hero image and they get down to, after the all of Texas, they get down to the 2 areas of I'll say not law, but categories, car wreck or class actions. In my situation, this homepage that I have is really tailored towards the car wreck front. It doesn't really talk about class actions. Like this button right here takes you to a questionnaire that really eventually takes the person to a form to fill out whether or not the class action is something I'm interested in. The issue there is it's not really optimized for conversion. This basically assumes that the person who's on my website to eventually, figure out if they have a class action case I'm interested in really wants me from the very beginning. On the other hand, with the car wreck approach, if you scroll through the entire homepage, it really hits, the car wreck topic hard, and all the reviews are tailored to car wrecks. And if I click learn more right here, if you want to get more information, it does this like scroll to where you have to go through all these reviews, and it piques the interest to where people are like, oh, what did I just see? And what are all these photos? And then they get their additional information here, and there's more information as they go down. The point here is that in my situation, this is what I want to do, and this is what I recommend Chris does as well, is that if you have these subcategories, then you may want to direct people to different home pages or different sales pages to where each one is optimized for that area of law or maybe that subcategory of law. For example, if I were to, and I plan on doing this at some point, change car wreck here to personal injury, then have subsets of that to where, let's say the personal injury subset is car wreck, or the other subset is slip and fall, then I would probably want to optimize for each subset. So what I would do in this situation is I would have a button that they can click that'll take them to a section on the home page that is directly optimized for that subset, or I would send them to another page, again, more like a conversion related page, to where that's just talking about that particular subset and it's designed to convert. Very similar to what Chris has. For example, we click on personal injury, it goes to a personal injury related page. I'm sure if I click on Chapter 13 bankruptcy, it's not going to mention personal injury. It's going to talk about Chapter 13, right? So you're getting your information there. My issue that I have with Chris's situation is I don't think this is optimized, right? You don't see any reviews. There's all these, potential rabbit holes for people to go down, right? There's bankruptcy as an option. Most likely, the people who are clicking on the personal injury button aren't wanting or needing to click on bankruptcy. So I would strip that all away and have something that looks, again, very similar to the home page, to where once people click it, they land on that page. It's like, boom, here is just, the minimal, focused, intensive content related to this area of law. And in doing so, you can have videos tailored to that area of law or that subset. You can have the reviews tailored to that so they can help provide that credibility. And you can have, less text. I'm not against text in general, especially if you're having those FAQs or you're trying to overcome the hurdles like we talked about in the 10 essential videos. This is just something that I would really try and optimize for, because what you're going to see that I think Chris runs into the problem of is that as he's presenting himself and his law firm, it goes back and forth between bankruptcy and personal injury, right? And so if I'm coming in for the personal injury need, all this bankruptcy stuff is just a distraction, and it's honestly just going to make things a little bit more convoluted. For example, we have, if your case is a personal injury case, here's some information. If your case is a bankruptcy case, here's more information. And so that is, again, it's not really, being tailored for the user experience. You want to optimize for the user, you want to optimize for the traffic, because in doing so, that's going to increase your conversion a whole lot more. So the point here with this rant and tangent and really trying to convey this type of style is you can either maybe have your homepage be in sections or have separate pages for each topic. When it comes to sections, like I talked about, this takes you down to a certain section of the homepage. You could maybe have one section for each area of law or each subset. It's really up to you. It's really how you think is going to best optimize your website. So let's head back over to Chris's website, and my general critique right here, and these are, small critiques, is I think, Chris, my recommendation for you is to take away the third person language that's going on here and, introduce yourself a little bit more casually, and to make that, connection up front. So I'm actually going to play the video, but I don't think my screen record is going to record the audio. So what I'm gonna do is swipe Chris's video and try and play it for you. That way you can get a sense of his video, and I'll provide some feedback on the video itself as well.
Hello, I'm Chris Layton, and I'm a personal injury and bankruptcy lawyer in Charlotte, North Carolina. Our firm has built a reputation for effective representation of clients combined with a personalized experience for the client throughout the length of the representation. When you work with the Layton Law Firm, you get to know your paralegal, you get to know your lawyer, and we keep you informed every step of the way as your case develops. We know choosing a law firm or a lawyer is a big decision and an important decision. We want to help. We offer free consultations. They can be done over the phone or in person. That way, you get a chance to get your legal questions answered, and you get to meet some of the folks that you may end up working with. Most importantly, you understand what your legal options are, and hopefully that helps you move forward one way or the other. We know you have choices. We hope you choose Layton Law.
Look, I'm surprised how good this video is. It is great. And the reason why I'm surprised is because the video isn't front and center. It's put off to the side. So I expected it to maybe kind of be, I don't know, a video, but not something that was super solid. In reality, it does exactly what it's trying to do, which is try and build a connection with somebody, and maybe more importantly, subtly talk about concerns that people may have, which is not being able to connect with the lawyer or the law firm or the personnel that's working at the law firm. All of that he addresses, and he's also very personable, and he doesn't come off intimidating. This video is great. My only tidbit of advice is maybe ending it a little bit differently. I listened to it, and the first thing that came to mind was something like this. Look, there is no denying that you have a lot of choices when choosing a lawyer or a law firm. But as you continue to scroll down this website and you see the reviews of my previous clients, my hope is that that choice gets a little bit easier. Look, I don't know if I'm sold on that, but I try to run with the choices. The point here is that whenever you have a video on your website, you want it to be as interactive as possible. So by directing people to continue to read down below, that's going to keep them engaged, that's going to keep them interested, and hopefully that's going to increase the potential for the conversion. Another thing that I really do like about Chris's website is the fact that he's very clear about the benefit of people reaching out to him. For example, no obligations. It's going to be over the phone. It just takes a few minutes. We'll analyze your case at no charge. We don't get paid unless you get paid. Free consultation. The fact that he emphasizes all these benefits and shows that there's no risk to the potential caller or to the potential client, that's something that can be very compelling to help convert that person to a client. Okay, so let's talk about what we're seeing right now. And I want to start with the fact that I'm about to open up a can of worms on my philosophical approach, which a lot of people may disagree with. If you disagree with what I'm about to say, let me know in the comments. If you agree, then let me know in the comments. If you pivot, then guess what? Let me know in the comments down below. So before getting into the philosophical view, let me lay a little bit of foundation here. Chris here has the fact that he has over 100 articles devoted to his personal injury blog. That tells me one thing. He also has, it looks like keyword stuffing, honestly, just like a list of all the areas of law that he handles with links. And that tells me, the same thing, which is it appears that Chris is putting a lot of time and energy in order to rank on Google. And so based on that appearance, I was like, okay, let's do a incognito search and figure out how he's doing. So I looked him up, I think searching bankruptcy, Charlotte, North Carolina lawyer, and then Chris was on the first page of Google for that. 2 thumbs up, Chris. That's awesome. A lot of people are trying to make it on Google, especially the first page. A lot of people fail. I, in my situation, haven't even attempted to try and rank with a blog. I don't have a blog on my website. At some point, I may, transition into incorporating a blog to some degree. But right now, for me, I'm focusing more on social media. And you may be thinking as the viewer, okay, why don't you do social media and a blog? Honestly, there's only so much time in a day. If I could do both, I would, but I can't right now. But in my situation, it's all about social media and trying to, send people to my website to get that conversion. It appears in Chris's situation, he's focusing more on blogging to rank on Google to send traffic to his website that way. In both situations, you still need to optimize your website. So let's talk about that optimization, talking about the can of worms that I'm now going to open. It's a long way to say that if you put links to your blog on the pages you want people to convert on, then you run the risk of them getting distracted, of them overlooking the button, clicking a link on a blog, and then reading one blog post, another blog post, another blog post, and then maybe something pops up and they close out and they go do that something. I'm not opposed to there being blog posts that end up sending people from Google to the blog post, to your homepage, to your landing page or your sales page that ends up converting people. I am a little bit opposed to the inverse, where you have your homepage or your landing page and that sends people to your blog, potentially. And in doing so, you're kind of distracting them from what they need to end up doing, which is reaching out to you, which is giving them a call or giving you a call. The point really, if I boil it down, is you don't want to have your distractions on your homepage or your sales page. One of those distractions potentially is going to be using your blog with 100 pages of blog posts. So, clean it up a little bit to where it, funnels from Google blog post to homepage and not the other way around. Okay, moving on. If you're trying to, make the Google gods happy, then maybe you just want to, put this at the very bottom. It gets a little bit cluttered here with all this text. Actually, now that I'm looking at this call to action, I would remove it. I'd have the sticky, or if you want to have something very similar be the sticky, then I'm all for that. And then this next section gets us more to blog posts. Again, I would remove that from the equation. If you end up thinking like, okay, but what if they have these questions as they're going through the sales page, or they're going through the home page? That's when you want to have your, questions that you pose and you have the answers underneath it. For example, on my law firm website, I have this Q&A-esque type of format to where injured in a car wreck, here's what you need to do. Step 1, step 2, and it's very interactive. If we scroll down even further, do I need a lawyer? What if the insurance company is accepting liability? I get that question all the time. Like, shouldn't this be easy? Do I really need a lawyer? If liability is already decided, then I explain exactly why. That is basically just one side of the coin. You need to get the other side of the coin as well. So these are resistance points and questions that pop up. I think instead of sending people to a blog in order to answer this, you can address this head on. And again, by people not having to go to other pages and have to go down that rabbit hole, it helps simplify the overall process. So let's head back here. I'd remove all this, not delete it, keep it to where people are organically going to it and then funneling that to your homepage. Just make sure your homepage is nice and simple and optimized. Okay. Again, we've talked about the area of service. I'd put that more at the top to help make it clear to everyone where you're practicing. Now it's time for my big rant, my big spiel. If you watch the 10 Essentials videos, for all the viewers out there, you know exactly probably what I'm about to say. If you haven't watched it, or maybe you just, are like, Jared, I'm clueless here. I'm about to walk you through my philosophy that I think is probably the most powerful thing you can use as a lawyer. Chris, buddy, let's chat here. I think it's time for me to give you some real criticism. Why in the world do you have reviews at the very bottom of your homepage? That makes no sense to me. The reason why this is kind of baffling is the fact that you run the risk of people bouncing before they make it all the way down to the bottom. And you also run the risk of people maybe going to your blog posts or going to something else and never actually coming back to see the reviews. I know what you're probably thinking right now, and I'm going to circle to it in a second. But the fact that at the very bottom of your homepage, you have reviews, and the reviews are like the slider reviews where people can only see one at a time. It doesn't show not only your qualifications, it doesn't act as that billboard, but it minimizes the impact that you've had on other people's lives. I stress this all the time. I stress it in my 10 Essentials video that I was talking about earlier at the very beginning of this video, if you remember, that your reviews are your billboards, right? We, as lawyers, spend a lot of time traditionally hyping ourselves up, really showing our expertise, really showing that we're not slimy lawyers. That only means so much. The real credibility factor is truly earned whenever people can see other people hyping you up, right? When your reviews and your previous clients are your billboards, that's going to have such great value. And I know we kind of assume that we need to, treat it like Amazon, to where whenever we're on Amazon, we get all the information at the very bottom are the reviews. We don't need to do that as lawyers. We need to front load in order to get as much credibility as possible at the very beginning, so that whenever people are scrolling through, they have fresh eyes, they know about your expertise through other people's words, through those billboards of yours. So really, really emphasize it. Another critique of mine, and this is what I was talking about earlier, to where you may be thinking, well, if they're on the blog post, they can still scroll up to the very top and click reviews. If you're relying on people having to navigate down these rabbit holes that I'm talking about in order to ultimately see reviews, you're giving them too much credibility, too much faith in order to really, stay on your website and not bounce quickly. You need to put your reviews front and center. Those are the most valuable things that you have. You have all these reviews that I'm looking at right here. There are all these 5-star reviews that people need to see, people need to be aware of. Don't let them basically leave your website without seeing them, and don't assume that just because they're on your website, they're going to go down on the rabbit holes and they're going to click on the reviews. So I think you need to front load your homepage as much as possible with reviews. If you can provide photos, that's going to make it even more impactful, because you'll have the smiling faces. People will be able to see the personalized aspect of it. They'll be able to see people that look like them, and they'll be able to have that connection without you really even pitching yourself. Ooh, can't stress this one enough. If there's one takeaway from this, as Chris is watching, or as any of y'all are watching, please focus on your reviews. It's the most valuable asset that you own. Finally, I can't help but say, I'm curious on whether or not Chris has built this website himself, or if he pays someone to manage and build his website and to make the changes. Chris, if you're the mastermind behind all of this, man, props to you. Again, 2 thumbs up. Not a lot of lawyers have 100% control of their website. But if you do have somebody who is managing your website that you're paying, if you have that person who's kind of like the bottleneck and making changes as well, then I do recommend that you check out the free online course, because it'll walk you through the steps to where you can make the changes. It shows you how you can build the website. It shows you how you can really control 100% of your website. And in doing so, it's probably going to save you a lot of money, which is always a good thing. Okay, with all that said, if anyone here has any questions, comments, or concerns, be sure to leave those in the comment section. Obviously, hit the like button, obviously subscribe. And with all that said, I'll see y'all in the next video.